Thank you, Marshall. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the June 26, 2024 CALPADS Q&A. My name is Paul Higgins. I'm a data analyst working at CSIS supporting CALPADS. All right, moving on to announcements. As you all know, end of year is still in process. The initial deadline is 7/26, July 26th, with the final deadline of August 16th. That amendment window should only be used for amendments. We should all be done on the 26th. Now, according to the end of year milestones that are published, this Friday will mark the end of our data population stage. So we should be moving into the resolving Cert errors, CDDs through the 19th. But again, I know a lot of you are already ahead of the curve, and I encourage you to stay ahead of the curve. But this is bare bones minimums to get certified right on time. This is where we should be. So please keep an eye on that. Now, flash messages. As you probably noticed, since we didn't have a Q&A last week, I think CDE snuck in a boatload of flashes so that we couldn't discuss them. But I think that's just conspiracy theory on my part. Anyway, since our last meeting, actually, I'm going to include one from the 11th as well, just to reiterate that the 2023 dashboard has come out. That was Flash 275, came out on the 11th. On the 13th, Flash 276 came out, and it discusses initial student with disability evaluations and their enrollment processes. Especially over the summer, how do you get them evaluated, that kind of thing. Flash 277 came out on the 13th as well, and it discusses the summer ARP, how that happens. The 278 came out on the 14th, discussing the foster youth purge, how to prep for the summer DC, and end of year reminders. Flash 279 came out on the 17th and discusses summer EL assessments. 280 came out on the 17th, discussing specifically SENR 0654E3, as well as a section discussing a reminder to use the TK grade level. The 281 came out on 6/18/2024, discussing the district of choice, and I believe there's also a section in there discussing the associated CDD on that. The 282 came out on the 20th, discussing the summer EBT program. So that's what, 8 or 9 of those that came out. They are not all published yet. So if you did not receive it in an email or in a message, just know that it is going to be published soon, and you may want to reach out to your LEA admin and ask for copies of them. If you are the LEA admin and didn't get one, go ahead and open up a service desk ticket so we can get you onto CDE and make sure that your subscriptions are all up to date. All right. I know last time I did this, I kind of bitched about the quality of service desk tickets, and it's still lackluster. I'll admit it, but I don't believe anybody in this group is suffering from the deficiencies that we notice. The missing error, the missing SSID. What are you looking for in the ticket? But if you know someone, feel free to mentor them. Tell them how to open a service desk ticket. Tell them what we need. Share the wealth of good service desk ticket etiquette. That'll save us from having to kill them with their own keyboards later on in life. All right. Do we have any updates from Martha, CDE, the other analysts, anything?
Nothing from Martha.
Not at this time.
Very good. Then let us move into the Q&A box. Let me open that up and get it over here. All right, starting out, Soraya at 301 Q1. If a student moves from our general ed LEA to our NPS school mid-year, what should their STAS record consist of? A single 23-24 record to capture their gen ed enrollment days, and then another 23-24 record to capture their NPS exempt status. And that's pretty much right, because they're at 2 separate sites, through you. So that means that they have to get 2 separate STAS records for 2 separate sites. So yeah, and then the NPS one would be marked as the exempt, but the one for gen ed should be detailed to include whatever their attendance was this year. All right, moving down to 301, Joanne, Q1, since TK students are exempted from taking the initial ELPAC, alternative ELPAC, and the summative ELPAC, alternative ELPAC, according to Flash 279, do we still need to add a TBD record for our TK students whose home language is not English? Also, if we can't test our TK, won't this lower our fall 1.17 total unduplicated FRPM EL counts if they're only criteria that makes them eligible would have been them being EL? Thanks, Joanne. Great question. I'm going to kind of go with the back end first. Yes, if the TKs are not being tested, and that's the only thing that was getting them onto the 1.17, you will see a commensurate lessening of those counts. Oh, and Natasha also just put in that Paula said another Flash is on the way to discuss this. So let's use hers as the definitive answer, but I believe for us, and let me get over to Flash 279 because I do have it open. Maybe. There it is. All right, kindergarten. All right, so the Flash says for transitional kindergarten students, LEAs should not assess incoming transitional kindergarten students per Assembly Bill 2268. So the guidance in there, well, I guess I'm just assuming what the guidance is in there is to not put the TBD, because the minute you put the TBD in there, that's going to begin communicating information up through TOMS. So unless,
actually,
go ahead,
Paul,
please.
They can put the TBD in there. It's not going to be sent to TOMS. And then when they become a kindergartner, then they have that 30-day window to be tested.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. I missed that. All right. SIN at 301 Q1, I have 292 Cert 99 warnings. After spot checking a few, I noticed that they left within a few months and did not get a grade. Should I go through all of them to verify? Refresh my memory, Cert 99. Okay, no student. Okay. Yes, if the student was there, you need to submit something showing that they weren't just, hanging out in the library for however many months. So when you submit that SCSC record for them showing what they were enrolled in, if they didn't, earn a final grade, you can put in an I or an INC or whatever you're using for incomplete, because there is no standardized grade set or code set, so you don't end with anything that's expected. So if your coding for an incomplete course is I, go ahead and submit an I and it will be accepted. It's up to you to determine how you're going to identify that as a not complete course, but the SCSC record doesn't need to go in. Chrissy at 301 Q1. If a student's last enrollment with us was in 11th grade and they did not have a subsequent enrollment in CALPADS, would we populate the adult age students with transition status indicator or leave it as NA based on the grade level? Well, the students don't begin transition until after 12th grade, so it would not be appropriate to populate the transitional status indicator beyond the NA. Never mind. So yeah, I don't believe that it needs to be populated in that instance. It sounds like there's a whole scenario that we're not really privy to here. So maybe that would change things. And if you want a more in-depth answer, go ahead and put in a surface test ticket.
I think the validation says it has to be a 12th grade.
Yeah, I was trying to find it, Gary. I don't know.
Is it on input?
Yes.
I'll try to look for it and reply if I find it.
Thank you, Mitch. Let's see, Chrissy. Okay, Eugenie at 301 Q1. How soon can SELPA certify the LEA? Is certifying before 6/28 too soon? No. If your data is what you think it needs to be, and you're error-free, and you've reviewed your reports, and you're happy with them, go ahead and LEA approve. Send it up to yourself and let them take a look at it. I'm sure that they would appreciate the extra time. But yeah, they can certify at any time, as can you. All right, Chrissy, I see your Q2. Oh, hold on just one sec. Okay, going down to Mika 302. End of year 1 through 3 will be certified. What are the consequences if you do not certify end of year 4? Waiting for SPED to clear end of year fatal errors. Consequences? Anybody want to speak to those?
Well, I know specifically for special education, it's really imperative that you get those data certified because we use them for your annual performance reports. There's also information included in your annual determination letters. And if you don't have data certified, that could mean additional monitoring activities that the LEA has to do. But it's also for federal reporting, right? So we've got federal reporting that we base a lot of the end of year SPED data on.
I also want to add that, Mika, I think what you had intended to type was we are helping SPED clear end of year fatal errors, not we are waiting for SPED to clear fatal errors. A lot of this work involves, teamwork. So I definitely recommend adopting a shift towards collaboration.
Touche.
Nicely said. All right. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Dominic. All right, going down to Kara from the Placer SELPA 302. Q1, sorry, long question with multiple parts. In reviewing the 16.23 report, we are finding some discrepancies between the enrollment exit reason, the SWDS, and the guidance on the appropriate combinations document provided in the SPED roadshow. Brandy, be prepared to answer this because I don't have all of your materials for the roadshow. Just one of the several issues, many of our districts report E230, a completer, and a 120 cert of completion for the SPED students at the end of their 4th year of high school, even though the students will be attending the adult transition program run by the high school. All right. This is not a match per the document from the roadshow. Has guidance been provided to the CALPADS Gen Ed folks that this is not a recommended practice? Are there compliance indicators that will be impacted by the data on the 16.23 or compliance monitoring related to it? At this point, there are errors warnings for these mismatches.
So Dominic, do you want to take a stab at that or do you want me to answer it?
I'm waiting for the appropriate statuses Excel file to load. So if you've got it ready, please.
Oh, I don't have that loaded. But
Do you want me to,
Okay.
is this the valid code combo or what are we?
it's not the valid code combo. It's the document that one of the documents that we shared in our box type for the roadshow, which was the appropriate statuses. So, and as soon as we get that document open, we will see what it says. But typically, remember, for students who receive a certificate of completion, it really depends on a couple of things. So if at the end of their 4 years, your LEAs are exiting them as with a certificate of completion, if they are going to continue on the following year to receive special education services, their status would not change. It could be eligible and participating. And that's actually not the document that we're talking about. Dominic, do you have it open yet?
It did open, yes.
Okay.
I have it.
So,
So for E230 120.
can you share your screen?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody can see that.
So
no.
w- it could be eligible, not enrolled, left school, not expected to return, if in fact they won't be returning. But there's also another option there. The student's going to come back, their status just wouldn't change. It would remain eligible and participating because
Yeah.
they can return the following year.
And that's what
So-
you would see. Sorry, Brandy. That's what
Yeah,
you would
go
see
ahead.
in the students with disabilities file submission scenario when that was brought up from the CDE page. It mentioned that there would be no expected changes to the status. And I don't have that. I'm sorry.
So again,
That's the one I
if the
have.
student is
Yeah,
exiting
let me see.
and not returning, okay? So for a long time, we've had conversations about when it's actually appropriate to use a certificate of completion, right? So for special education purposes, I can tell you when we report the exit file to the feds, ideally what we want is for a student to be exited once and not return, right? If we're reporting them as an exiter. But we often know that you report them with a certificate of completion in their 12th grade year, their cohort year, and then they return until they age out. And so because you guys you have that practice, if you know that the student's returning, just leave their status eligible, not enrolled. And that's an update that we can make to that document.
Thanks, Brandy.
Right on.
Thanks, Dominic.
Certainly.
All right, moving down to Natasha, 302 Q1. Should we expect to see TK as the low grade on our 1.0 expected schools report rather than K?
Brandy, didn't we talk about the high grade, low grade of LEAs and with TK in there? I don't think we've made that adjustment, right? And does that come from ESI?
That's a good question. Whether or not CDS has actually added TK, their high and low grades. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm almost thinking that they haven't. I'm almost positive that they haven't. But
So
I can check.
I would send in the service ticket and then we can chase that down for you. But I think for right now, yeah, don't expect it because it's additional work that we have to do to make sure it shows up as the low grade. And we haven't taken on that work yet.
Thank you. All right, Diana, 303 Q1. Could you please clarify the usage codes of E23120? Okay, we just talked about that. So I hope that addressed your question. If not, go ahead and reply and let us know what else you needed. Eva, 303 Q1. We are collecting our NPS students' discipline data for 23-24. Could you please kindly let me know what the discipline data of our NPS students who are over age 18 is not required to be included and reported for the EOI submission? If they're still a primary enrollment through you, the age 18 barrier doesn't exist. You're still reporting whatever incident data happened.
Right. And for students with disabilities, it's ages 3 to 21 inclusive.
Alrighty then. Let's go to Stella, 303 Q1. I'm getting an SENR 606E4 error. Meeting held at the end of the school year. SWDS record was eligible and participating as of 5/17/2024, but plan shows that effective start date will be the first day of the next school year, 8/22/2024. How to resolve? I cannot change to not participating because the reason codes don't make sense for this. Well, if they're not going to be enrolled until next year, they can't be eligible and participating until that enrollment starts. So you're going to have to put in one of the other codes, eligible and not enrolled, or
Eligible, not participating.
eligible and not participating, and then include one of the non-participation codes. You
It's
have
12.
It's 12. Thank you. So there you go. Eligible, not participating with the non-participation code of 12.
Right. And we did give guidance on this, and Dominic has been providing guidance on this in the weekly SPED office hours for meetings that are taking place this year, for plans that will not be effective, or students who won't start services until the next academic year. It's okay to manually enter your meetings and within CALPADS, but if they've been determined to be eligible but will not start participating, you need to add a status of eligible, not participating, non-participation reason code of 12, and then next year you want to go ahead and report the status of eligible and participating along with their plan and service records. Thank you, Alex.
Look at that. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Okay.
All right, Stella, thanks for the question. Moving on to Ethan, 304 Q1. Do you think there's any chance EOI 1 Cert Report 3.20 CTE completer student list could be updated to have the Perkins CTIG fundable parameter default to all instead of Y when the report loads?
We probably have to discuss its need to have it changed. I think there was a reason why we had it set to Y. Brandy, do you recall when you were helping us in that?
Yeah,
area?
because why do we have it defaulted there? Because those reports were developed specifically for Perkins and CTEIG. It wasn't really with a sort of a dashboard emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just defaulted it to yes, because they were intended to be used for Perkins.
Thanks. Good memory.
Good memory.
That's a good, like 10 years ago.
I know.
All right, 307, Mary, Q1. For fifth year returning seniors, do we use E155 or 156? You use E156, and as you point out, between Flash 209 and 213, the E155 was split into the E155 for TK through 11, and E156 was reserved for grade 12 alone. So for your returning seniors, they are all going to be coded as grade level 12, so they will all use E156. ELBA 308 Q1. I am getting PSTS 0481E4 with a private school student from 2324 with a 12th grader. The student was exited with code E170. All right. I dive into these fairly frequently. Generally, what it is either the student's exit coding, and Alex, can you scroll up really quick just a little bit? Let me see the suggested resolutions. Okay, so the E170 is not one of the expected completion codes there. So, yeah. So the reason that you're triggering that because the student doesn't qualify to have PSTS data as a SPED student reported to CALPADS. So your resolution is to remove the PSTS data out of CALPADS. All right. Rochelle, 309 Q1. Will STAS 651 be activated for next year? Our SAS vendors received information and pushed the script for this year, but I do not see the STAS 651 has been deactivated. Yeah, it's currently listed as inactive in the user manual. So when it does get implemented, you'll see that change to active. Fabiola, 309, Q, exclamation point, not a 1. Good afternoon. Can a student be reported as homeless and foster? If we see a student is reported as foster on the 5.7 report, should we end the homeless eligibility? I don't know that we have a validation to look for that. I believe that you could code somebody as both homeless and then receive a foster youth match through CDSS.
My understanding, they might want to forward this to, or have Sean forward this to, or submit a ticket and have them forward it to our foster liaison or the homeless office. But from what I understood when I was in the CalPADS office, was that you could only be identified as homeless and foster if you were awaiting foster placement. So you were in temporary foster placement. So, but if you were awaiting permanent foster placement, you could be both of those things at the same time. But again, I would urge you to just submit a ticket so that we could forward it to the various program areas, because it may have changed since I was there.
Thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. Fabiola, just go ahead and put a service desk ticket in and we'll get you to the right people. Aaron at 310 is Q1. Is there any documentation on how CALPADS and TOMS interact, such as what exit codes will exit the student out of a record in TOMS? Also, hello. Hi. There is documentation about how the TOMS extract is compiled. It's basically if a student has been exited, they shouldn't be included in the TOMS file overnight. It's only with active students and who are kindergarten and above now. So yeah, there shouldn't be, but there are often glitches where, sometimes it sticks, or, the files we sent over didn't get fully processed or whatever, and a student kind of stuck in TOMS somewhere. So there are little glitches, and we do have a separate box where we send TOMS questions to, and they usually get on them real quick and know how to fix them. But I don't know of where the publicly facing TOMS extract information is, or if it even exists.
So I will say that what they're probably asking is how test registration records get created, and if the student's no longer enrolled or they've exited, how does that test registration get deleted? And here's what I can tell you is that if an enrollment is sent over for a student in TOMS, they create a test registration record, but there is no process to remove those test registration records. There's no automated process. So it is very much a manual process. And the exit codes that they use to remove those test registration records, I don't know if they're documented anywhere publicly. But if you submit a ticket and put it to Thor Vu's attention, he could probably give you some more information or put you in touch with people that could give you some more information.
Perfect, thank you. Siobhan at 312 Q1, I am getting 15 CRSC 0231 mismatch of course attributes errors. In fixing the file from my SIS to create unique course IDs, I have created 211 SCSC 0139E1 errors. My SIS isn't sure how to fix this. If I alter the info within my SIS, it will be bad. I have a ticket open with CalPAD. Yeah, there's a whole discussion behind the SCSC 0139, but it boils down to you've enrolled students into a course section that doesn't exist in CalPADS. So, as you said, you were manipulating the CRSC data to create unique course IDs. You probably broke the linkages between the SCS data and the CRSC data. So you can fix it manually, but with 211, you may just want to, start fresh, make sure that the data in your SIS is true and complete and correct, and then just upload fresh CRSC and SCSE files that are complete. So that way you're overwriting everything that's there and everything is new and shiny and fresh, and it should reflect, the corrected information from your SIS. When you say, if I alter the info within my SIS, it will be bad, I don't know what that means. Is it your SIS has bad data, or it would just be a pain in the butt and you don't want to do it, or they don't want to do it and are trying to have you do it in CALPADS? All right, but you also say you have a ticket open, so continue working with whoever you have as your service agent.
Alex has that ticket.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. All right. Where are we at? Susan, 312 Q1. I am confused on how to extract from CALPADS the correct initial start date for students.
That's the
All right.
SSID extract. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The SSID extract, the second to the last column, has that date for you. Column 17.
So there you go. The easy answer. All right. Rachel, 315 Q1. What students would be tagged with a Y for graduation exemptions? This is anybody who graduated using any kind of an exemption that relieved them of having to complete a requirement. And it's up on the screen. It's defined as an indication of whether a graduating high school student was exempted from local graduation requirements, but has completed all state graduation requirements for a standard high school diploma. A Y would indicate the student was exempted. An N would indicate the student was not exempted from local graduation requirements. So, go
And
ahead.
to me, this should be the counselors that are, populating your SIS. This is not a data coordinator's decision to determine if they are exempted or not. So somebody else that is tracking the requirements that students complete should be providing that.
Perfect. Thank you, Martha. All right. 316, Adriana, Q1. Any idea when Cert 123 CALPADS issue will be resolved?
I checked that earlier today. It was still in the active state, so they're still working on it.
All right, so no real update on that, except that it is still in progress. I apologize that we don't have any more accurate information on that. Audrey at 320 sent a link. So hopefully it's not, going to do something weird to my computer as I click on it. Ah, okay, it's a Q&A or an FAQ. Okay, so it's a discussion of enrollment statuses. I got you, in transition services. Thank you. Let's see. Some crosstalk. All right, Marie 322. Q1, can you confirm if a dual college course is submitted as a CTE course, is the 9.36 high quality CTE course indicator required? Oh, let's see. 9.
High quality CTE had to do with the SEID that was.
Yeah, just basically means it's taught by a teacher with a CTE designated subject's credentials. So it's not really relevant.
College credit or not.
All right, thank you for that. Donovan, 323 Q1. One of my LEAs is receiving an error for duplicated SSID, one being their student, another being an unfamiliar student, no longer in state. How should they go about resolving the issue? Well, I guess I'd need to know what error it is, and then I would have to look at the information before I would really render an opinion. Donovan, please open a CALPADS service desk ticket providing the information necessary to actually look that up. and investigate it further, and we will offer you an opinion.
So typically this would show up as a mid though, right? When you have a student, two different students using the same duplicated SSID. So I don't know if Donovan, if you're familiar with mid resolution.
All right. The mids are discussed in the SSID enrollment manual, which is in the footer of any CALPADS document or a CALPADS page. So you can go into the bottom left, I think it is, right underneath the data guide. Anne at 323, Q1. Hi, Anne. I reported some students who received their adult school diplomas with a one-day enrollment, but now I'm getting some errors because they do not have STAS records. If I report them at the district level, since they did not receive a diploma from their high school, how do I fix this? You submit a STAS record with the exemption indicator populated with yes, and then you submit nothing subsequent to that. So that way, that one-day enrollment, you're recognizing it, but you're saying, hey, we're not taking attendance on that. And then you submit it, so that way the STAS data does exist, but it's exempted. Lisa, 327, Q1. We have a student that switched to independent study towards the end of the school year. She never returned. She has a 360 code for grad status, but I'm not sure how to exit her. She is now 18 and no longer communicating with the school. So the E230-360 is a completer, finished grade 12 without completing graduation requirements. That's a perfectly valid exit code. I'm not sure how else to answer that. If she didn't complete her grad requirements, then that seems like an appropriate code to me.
And then she would show up as a non-completer?
No, she'd be a completer, but a non-grad because
Non-grad, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
since she completed grade 12, then she would be a completer, especially with that E230, but the 360 would specify that she did not complete her local graduation requirements or meet any or the state and or local high school requirements. All right, Nicole, 331, Q1. Which student should be counted on the 16.12 and 16.22? NPS students, district private school, county and regional, or just the ones physically attending our LEA? Well, the basic selection criteria for students included states students with qualifying enrollment who are eligible and participating during the academic year and have an education plan effective date during the report period at the same LEA as the enrollment. It goes on to then define the enrollments as well as the SPED data to be included in the report. So yes, it's going to include most students. Well, what is this one? This is the 22. This is the non-participation. Yeah. Okay, so anybody with the SPED record or the SWDS record with the associated status, stating that they're inactive or not eligible are going to be included on that. It also goes on to define the enrollment as well as that SPED data. So you can get to those report mapping guides where it will spell out that selection criteria in the CALPADS user manual using the search functionality and typing in the report number.
So I should mention, however, that we recently discovered that there are some students that are missing from this report, specifically when they were determined not to qualify. So if they were eligible not participating, eligible not enrolled, or not eligible, and their enrollment reflects a no-show exit, those kids are not showing up on this report right now. And so we've got to change the report logic, and we've got a change request that's going to be submitted relatively soon here to change that. So you may not be seeing some of your kids that did not initially qualify for one reason or another.
Thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. All right, Derek, 332 Q1 regarding Flash 282 summer EBT program update. This Flash suggests that SEP schools can now accept alternative income forms from any student at any time, regardless of where an LEA is in their SEP base year window, and that these students would be eligible for unduplicated status. Is this interpreted correctly?
I know Sean's not here, but you definitely want to submit a ticket for that one because I don't know whether or not they've updated the guidance.
I agree with Brandy. Derek, please open a CALPADS service desk ticket and we will get that up to CDE level 2. Clarissa, 333 Q1. For County Office of Ed, court schools where students are incarcerated, are suspensions only in the in-school suspensions, or can suspensions be defined as out-of-school suspension? As an example, might be when the student is sent back to his or her unit or room. I don't know. That's a good question because their unit or room would, I guess, be their home. So if they were being sent to their home, that would be out of school. But since they're never leaving the site, which is the whole school, you could make an argument either way. I would lean towards in school just because it's all enclosed, it's all one place. You know, you're not sending them out as a punishment, obviously. But again, I think that that's another service desk ticket that we can get clarification on if you wanted to submit that. All right, Anonymous 334, sorry for the missing earlier answer. Can you please share when the Cert 123 will be resolved? It's still in an active status, so it is still being reviewed and worked on. We do not have an ETA on that. All right, Donovan, see your Q2. Susan, see your Q2. H. Nichols at 336 Q1. Are there issues with data discrepancies not refreshing like they should? And if so, will this issue be fixed? Example, some DD updates are some DDs updated at 6 a.m. this morning and then not until 1 p.m. Well, the DD, CDD jobs do run throughout the day, and they're based on you or your LEA uploading data to CALPADS to change the condition, so it needs to reconsider it. So it's not going to kick off unless you're uploading data, and then it's only going to kick off at certain intervals. So, and again, based on the current data load, if you're getting 2 in a day, that's actually not bad. And obviously we want to do better, but if you can get 2 DD refreshes throughout the day, that will lead to probably 2 submission refreshes during the day. And that's actually not bad at all for us. All right, Eve 337, that's a Q2. I'll come back to that. Eldrick 340 Q1. To prepare for initial LPAC testing next week for our kindergarten students, we intend to submit SENR records to CALPADS today. These records will reflect a start-end date from 7/1 to 7/26, 2024, with the exit reason T160. Previously, I understood that only active students are pushed to TOMS. Given the future exit date of 7/26, will students be able to take the initial LPAC test next week, specifically on Thursday or Friday? Also note TBDs will be sent to CALPADS for these students on Monday, July 1st, 2024. Okay, that was actually where I was going with that too. Yeah, the future end date on that, that's interesting. Okay, let's see here. We're over here on the CALPADS Flash 279 reviewing what their guidance is. All right, so if they have SSIDs, except does not have an ID.
I thought in the past we told them not to exit kids.
Yeah,
Maybe that
Yeah.
was for some other reason.
Probably better not to exit them until they're done with their testing.
yeah, that would probably be the best guidance right there. It's, one more thing to keep track of, but if you open them, you upload that TBD data and you leave them open through that test date, you know that they're being included in that TOMS extract. Then as soon as the testing is complete, a week from Monday, you can go back in and upload the second closure file. So that would be my guidance, would be to open them now, upload the TBD data, leave it open through next week, and then the following Monday, close them.
My take on it though is that the enrollment start date can be their actual first day of school. So it doesn't have to overlap with their summer testing window.
Yeah,
So
but
long
usually
as
that's an open enrollment if it is in the future. This is a future end. And I think the fact that it has an end date is what TOMS looks at, even though it shouldn't. It doesn't evaluate if it's a future end date. It just says, hey, it's got an end date.
Well, so one of my questions is why they're creating this temporary enrollment
Mhm.
rather than just submitting the future dated enrollment for the fall when they're intended to start
Mhm.
without an exit date, because that's the guidance that that the CALPADS office put out.
Yep.
So that if you're doing summer testing, there's a specific protocol. You submit an enrollment with their expected start date in the fall, and then a TBD record dated with, the current date and their primary language other than English. And then that student will be eligible for testing. But I don't think you need to submit a closed enrollment, just a temporary closed enrollment. I don't think you should do that. And there should be a flash on
Yeah.
it. Oh, you've got it. Okay.
All right, even better. Okay, close that. Mary 345. We all need to know the answer to the question about the SEP schools accepting alt incomes forms at any time. You asked him or her to put in a ticket. Please convey to all of us what the outcome is. Roger that, Mary. As soon as we see that ticket come in, we'll CC ourselves on it to remind us to talk about it in this meeting. All right, circling back. Chrissy 302, your Q2 reads, I previously submitted a ticket on 6/19 but never received a response and would like to ask the question here. We have a CRSC 0548 warning for SEED on our end of year 2 error report. We do not have a SAS record for the staff who was termed during the school year. Is there something I am missing, or why is this error triggering? Well, it is a warning, so let's just start out there and set the tone that you will be able to certify with that triggering, just because it is a warning. Now, as to the CRSC or the error itself, I believe we did ask about this at some point, didn't we?
Yep, there's a new defect on that. It's a warning, so you can still LA approve, but the trigger, it's triggering invalidly because we're finding the SEEDs do have a SAS record for the course that aligns with the course that says they're a teacher and they have a course completed. So there's no reason that error or warning should be triggering. And that was just assigned today. It may not be showing on the known issues yet. It was like 15 minutes before this meeting started.
All right, thank you, Gary. All right, Donovan 336 Q2. If a student is receiving physical therapy services from a provider contracted with the district of service, would the provider agency be a 400 NPA under contract or a 100 district of service? My LEA is receiving a serve 0447 error as they don't have an NPA identifier for the provider.
Let's see. Well, I'm just reading it again. Physical therapy services from a provider contracted with the district of service. I would say if you don't, well, I mean, I think the first thing that you need to find out is if it actually is a non-public agency through the district of service. Directly contract with the provider as opposed to with an agency. I see. Okay. Because they are receiving it through the district of service and the contract isn't between district of residence and the NPA. This is really interesting. So Donovan, why are you reporting this record rather than the district that's serving the student? That's what I'm questioning. Are you where the student goes to school? I'm only asking here because the LEA is unable to attend today. Oh, okay. So if, I don't know if I can answer this question appropriately. So I'll get some guidance from my teammates. If you want to just submit a ticket and you can put it to my attention and then we'll address it.
Perfect. Thank you, Brandy. All right, 336, Susan, Q2. To elaborate on my earlier question, I am wondering how to make sure the student's initial school start date matches the student first date of schooling in California. I thought it had to match that to the first date of enrollment in kinder. Is that correct? If yes, how do we do that? Well, again, we put it onto the SSID extract to make it just your life easier so you didn't have to review your enrollment history and try and, follow all the rules. But yeah, if you wanted to manually do that, you could go back through and, identify their earliest kindergarten and then verify the age on that date because they weren't always 100% enforced. And then you'll find the right one that they were, is it 3 or older or 4 or older? I don't remember.
So Paul, I would add that it doesn't have to match. If their first grade is KN or maybe it's TK, that, then typically that is their first enrollment, but you may have kids that come to you from out of state and they may have already been enrolled in a US school prior to coming to California. So their first enrollment in CALPADS may not match their first enrollment if they were at a school outside of California. So that's why we share with you what the information is. It's up to you to determine which students should have their initial US school enrollment date match their earliest enrollment in CALPADS.
We also get a few of these that, if you look, their kindergarten first initial enrollment is a date when they're obviously were not old enough to be a kindergartner yet, and that KN was entered incorrectly. The validation rule wasn't in place back then. In those cases, we can correct that to change it back to a preschool. In most cases, that's what the grade level should be. So then the right KN grade is in place and date.
Thank you, Gary. All right, 337, Eva, Q2. Could you please show me how to find the state course codes for CTE courses, which are master classes, not concentrated classes and not capstone classes? I don't
I've
know
not
the
heard of
term.
master classes.
Oh, thank God, I'm not the only one.
I only know of capstone. They're called advanced or capstone or the capstones.
Yep. Haven't heard of masterclass.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that either.
CALPADS doesn't use it.
All right. Lori 354Q1, I am confused. There is no SAS file submitted for EOI 1, so it should not be a factor at all. Only the CRSC and SCSC and SDEM are required for end of year 1.
Yeah, that 548 error is invalid. I'm not even sure why it's triggering, but it is a warning. And once they get it fixed, it'll go away. But again, it will not prevent LEA approval.
All right, and that brings us to the bottom, and I don't see anything new popping up.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, right? All right, I'm going to give you back a fraction of a minute of your day. Congratulations. Thank you. But thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Always a good time. Always learn something new here. If you have any questions, problems, concerns before the next Q&A, please open a CALPADS service desk ticket so we know sooner, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. We are experiencing a very high ticket volume right now, so it may be a little longer than usual before you hear back from us, but we are working diligently to get through the queue on a daily basis. All right, you all have a great week, and we will see you and talk to you then.